Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I am one of your fantastic hosts, Mark.
Hey there, I'm your other host, and I'm Raven. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we did it. We're back in the heezy. It's time for Mark's weekly therapy session. Well,
Wait,
you know,
I don't get
what?
paid for this.
No one gets paid for this.
Shit.
So last week we talked about the writer's strike, right?
Yes.
And this week is Comic-Con. And usually, like, we are just inundated with trailers and stuff and announcements and all this other stuff. And you know what we haven't got this weekend? All of that stuff. Yeah. I think this really wasn't on the docket for like us to talk about. It just literally just popped in my brain for no other reason than, like, I don't know. I have a little sticky note here on the computer screen that has like our notes from last week, and it just popped in my brain. But the actors and stuff are striking, you know, because they're on strike. They can't. Comic-Con is part of that strike, and it is wild seeing the highlights because it is pretty much just comic book people or publishers. And I think Futurama did a panel, but none of the actors were there, which was weird because those are the guys that you want to have like pushing your show is the actors that are there, and they're not. Yeah. And it's weird. So, yeah. New Futurama comes out on Monday. Go see it, everybody.
Oh. Well, you know. That's nice, I guess. Good shout out, Mark.
Yeah. You know, that'll be $50. Hulu, Amazon, whoever is in charge of that.
I think it's on Hulu. I might be crazy.
I think so. But there's a lot of, again, not on the docket, just bringing it up because my brain's doing this. I heard a rumor that Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, new and old, both CEO of Disney, is coming in and is trying to clean house. And the rumor is that he is trying to sell off the TV channels ABC, FX, and what used to be Disney Family. I think it's called Freeform now. He's trying to sell off all three of those channels, which is wild to me.
Interesting. You know, Disney owns like so much stuff.
It does.
So that's kind of crazy that he'd be like, we don't want this anymore. Let's get rid of this trash.
Well, it's weird that he would be selling ABC because I think ABC, Disney has had the longest. You know?
But like, I feel like ABC has like flopped though. Like, it used to have like a lot of like pretty good shows, and then at some point it changed over to like ABC Family, and then it became Freeform, and then I don't know anything that ever comes on that channel.
Yeah, Freeform I kind of understand. Like, that's one of those things where it could be like what was it? Was it TNN, I think, which is the Nashville network, and then that got sold to somebody, and then it became Spike TV, and then it became something else, and then just died.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of see that for Freeform because there hasn't been like a really good show on that for a while, but there's not anything that's like, oh yeah, you know, you see the Freeform show that just is like kind of encapsulates all of like whatever Freeform is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a graveyard. There's nothing there.
And FX I kind of see, but just can't. I mean, that's actually got some hits on it because that has like Atlanta, that one show that Zach Galifianakis like there are shows on that channel recently that have won Emmys. So it's wild that they would want to sell that channel. And ABC is like a legacy channel. Like, why in the world would you want to sell ABC? So, I don't know. I don't know. What do I know?
I mean, I'm sure he's got like theories and proof of like, hey, here's why we should kick some of this out. But yeah, that's pretty wild to be in charge of like so much stuff and then at some point just be like, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. Someone else can take it or it can die.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think things are shaking up at Disney. It's definitely an interesting time.
Shiver me timbers.
No.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I hadn't heard any of that. I know that you guys are like big Disney people, so you keep up with a lot of like that news and stuff. But I hadn't heard a single thing about that. That's wild.
Yeah. I haven't even asked you, Raven, how was your week, man? How you been? We just kind of jumped right into it. I didn't even like, hey, go through all the formalities that we usually go through.
I mean, I guess that's testimony to how our week has been. It's just go, go, go.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do and get it done. But it wasn't too bad. It was a pretty rainy week here, so a lot of my grooming time was just spent in uncomfortable, wet humidity.
Oh.
But this weekend's been pretty decent. Chris and I got a lot of stuff done. Bought some stuff off Facebook Market, which was pretty nice. Bought like a whole little patio table with like 4 chairs. And like they still had like the little cushion things on it. All for like $40 because some lady was just like, we bought a new one. You can have it for $40. And I was like, what's up, girl? Yeah. And then we brought it all home and Mudslide got scared by it. Because that's just how he is. What about you, Mark? How's your week been doing?
So busy. So busy. I only had one kid, but I had the one kid who was like, I have to do stuff all the time or else I will explode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been fun. Constant state of motion, doing the dang old thing. Getting ready for school to start back in 2 weeks, which is weird. Yeah. So, 2 months summer. Whoop whoop.
I do get affected by the school system, to be honest, because since I'm driving around and most of like the schools are on like the main roads here in Knoxville, when I like I texted our group chat like the first day of summer and I was like, guys, we get freedom. We don't have to like worry about schools and all the school traffic for like 2 months. And so now that it's coming back, I'm like, crap. That means I have to leave earlier. I'll get stuck in traffic. I hate it.
Yeah,
But it's just
I know that feeling.
One of those things.
Yeah, next
Been in
week we
school
got
forever.
high school orientation.
Oh yeah, big
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, Alice is moving on up. I don't know how I feel about it, but
I'm sure she's excited. That'll be fun.
yeah. Let's see. Oh, this weekend, I took the girls yesterday, and we went to go see the Barbie movie.
So jealous.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
I am shocked
Oh.
and amazed that, for one, this movie, it surprised me in a lot of different ways. The biggest of which was a absolute stellar, dare I say, an Oscar-worthy performance from Margot Robbie. Like, there are some scenes in this movie where she does some legit dramatic acting. I'm like, oh boy, I was not ready for this. This is wild. I don't think I'm going to give anything away, but there's one there's one part, the whole kind of basis of the movie is that Barbie goes out in an adventure into the quote unquote real world. So,
The
and
Lego world.
you know what? I'll go ahead and say now I was wrong.
Darn.
I thought for sure that it was going to be very much a Lego movie style of movie where at the end it's like, oh yeah, here are the girls that are playing with this, and this has all been part of their imagination the whole time. It's not. Will Ferrell is at his most Will Ferrellness.
Oh.
So, it's just absurd. But
Okay.
it fits for the movie. All the corniness and campiness does kind of fit with the movie. But there's one scene where Margot Robbie's Barbie is sitting on a like a bus stop bench in Southern California, like Venice or something, like Los Angeles, and she's having like this kind of realization of a lot of different things all at one time. And it's essentially like her whole perception of reality is like, well, everything she thought the way the world works doesn't work that way. And she is like coming to grips with that. And the expressions on her face, like acting wise, she's not saying nothing. She's not she's doing stuff, but it's all kind of emoting, and she's just kind of crying, but not really. And it is spectacular. I couldn't believe it. And it's this weird kind of heavy moment, like as an adult, kind of cognizant of the world around you. You see that and you're like, oh, damn, this is heavy. Like, I don't know if my kids got it, but I was like, oh boy, this is a lot,
Yeah.
And there's other parts of the movie, like the director, Greta Gerwig, I think her name is. She must have read the limitations of what can I put in a PG-13 movie without getting an R rating. Because she did everything except show boobies, which you're apparently allowed to show a boob or two boobs. I'm not real sure. And say the F word. They don't quite say the F word, and they don't show boobies, but they are like right on the line of everything else. I'm like, ooh, man. Like, ooh, like I can't believe they said that. It's not really bad.
Yeah, but you're like glancing over at Amy just to be like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. There was more than a couple times when I looked over at the girls and was like, "What y'all doing, huh?" And dang it, I had a train of thought and I was going to say it. I was like, "Oh, keep this in your brain. You're going to lose it." And sure enough, I lost it.
man.
Well, anyway, it was great. It was dope. Go see it.
I want to so bad.
That's what it was. I cannot wait. Apparently, they've already done it, and I can't. I haven't been on social media too much this weekend since I've seen it to see, but I can already hear the outrage from the dumb men who are just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this movie. This movie was fine, but they just shove all this feminism down my throat. This Barbie movie." Like, I can just hear the incels just so upset at this movie, and I'm like, really? And in my mind, I'm just already arguing with them. Like, really? It's a Barbie movie. What do you expect?
Exactly. I saw some of the postings and they like cracked me up because I'm just like, dude, what are you expecting? Barbie like does everything. Barbie's like an astronaut and she can be a stay-at-home mom and she can do all this, that, and the other, and little girls love Barbie. Like, it's not made for you, homies. You take your daughter to see it. They're like, wow, that was great. I love Barbie. I want to be like Barbie. And then you go, yeah, okay, whatever. That sounds great. Do what you want. And then you can never have to watch it again. That's all you gotta do. But I am so excited to watch it.
You got to see it.
I told Chris I wanted to see it. He was like, I don't want to see it this weekend. And I was like, that's fair. It's going to be opening weekend. There's going to be like, probably some kids. Were there like a decent amount of kids in the theater when
There
you
were
went?
there were some. There was a lot of
Mostly
middle-aged
like,
women.
okay, all
You
right.
know, it was there was a lot of middle-aged women that didn't bring their kids, which was weird. But it was definitely the target audience of the kids from the 80s who grew up with Barbies. So
Yeah.
like they were my age. They were all dressed in pink. Amy wanted to dress up, and she almost did. And she was like, "We got to dress up to go see this movie." I'm like, "No, we don't. No, we don't. I'm not. I'm not."
How dare you?
Yeah, I know. Um, it's a whole thing. I'll tell you off mic about it, but it was
That's fine.
it was an event for a lot of these women, and I'm kind of all for it. Like they seemed to enjoy it, and there was some really great humor and some really fun and kind of serious moments, and just girl power, whoop whoop. I mean, I had a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty much how my week went. I wish I could be like, oh yeah, I did more, but that was it.
I'm right there with you, man.
I'm waiting on
just
that. I'm waiting on
getting
that
there.
new Ninja Turtle movies to come out.
Oh yeah. Actually finally saw like a commercial for it for the first time because I didn't know that there was going to be a new Ninja Turtle movie until Chris came home with that cup that he just got from work, and then we had seen like posters, and I was like, "Oh, this?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's going to be animated." And I was like, "Okay." Uh, I'm sure we'll go see it, but I'm not like super jazzed to see it. I am super jazzed about the Haunted Mansion movie. I
I
keep
don't.
seeing posters for it, and I just want to watch it. It's got Danny DeVito in it, and anything with Danny DeVito, I am always down to watch. That's my man's.
I don't think I've seen the full trailer yet. I know it's got Rosario Dawson in it. I think, but I don't think I've seen the full trailer for it.
I feel like I've mostly seen like little clips for it. I've seen the posters at like Regal for it. Chris and I haven't really gone to see like many movies recently, so I don't know if there's like an entire actual trailer for it yet, or if they're just like, you know, throwing out posters, and then at some point they'll be like, "Oh, here it is. Here's the big trailer."
Hold on a second. I'm trying to think. I don't think we sat through trailers yesterday when we went to the movie theater.
Oh no, that's always the fun part.
What in the world? Did we watch any movie trailers? I don't think we did.
You got there like right as it was starting.
No. Like we got there in enough time. Like we saw the whole
Oh.
like theater promo and all that other stuff that we usually see. Like right at the end of Maria Menounos going, all right, hey, thanks for coming in and sitting with us. Like
Yeah.
that's about the time we got there. And then they went through the whole theater thing, turn off your cell phones and all that other stuff. But I don't think we watched movie trailers. That's wild that they didn't show it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hold on, I'm checking with my kid. So with Chris working for Regal, do you guys still get like all the kind of cool swag and stuff? Like Chris got the cup. Do y'all get like other different kinds of cool swag?
I mean, it'd probably be pretty easy for him to still like get a decent amount. Like we still get all the perks of the free movie tickets, and then 50% off for concessions, and he gets like we get a decent amount of tickets, but like
Mm-hmm.
we really have just been so busy. And since he works nights and then I work during the day, it's a little difficult for us to go see a movie unless we like specifically go on the weekend. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we're just like, we need to take a moment. But if we went back to like our Regal in Chattanooga, we would definitely be able to like snag some stuff pretty easily because we're
Okay.
still like really close to the manager there. But the cup he said was just like on his desk, and I was just like, what is this? And he was like, I just showed up to work and there were a bunch of cups all over the desk. So I was just like, okay.
Word.
Yeah.
All right, Alice is in here. Hey, Alice, did they show trailers in front of the movie yesterday? I don't remember us watching any trailers.
I think we watched one.
Which one? We didn't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. We didn't. No, I don't think we did. I think they just went straight after they did the whole, silence your cell phone stuff. They went straight to the movie. Yeah, we didn't see any.
That's weird.
Okay. Cool. That's it. Thank you.
No, imagine whenever if they're still on strike and there's no more movies and that's like the last movie.
Speaking of trailers,
Yeah.
the full trailer for the new One Piece is out.
Yes, and it actually makes me want to see the trailer for it too, or see the show.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it looks like that good type of like animation that you could like expect from like, I don't know how to word this. Like, it doesn't look overly done, but it's not like super simple with it.
Right.
Like, they do like stupid things with like Luffy's powers that you can be like, okay, yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be upset with it.
Very. It looks like it's very stylized.
Yeah.
So they
Excited.
very much like they've taken care, like they know the source material they're looking after, or they're modeling the show after the source material in a very good and kind of stylized way.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to.
For sure. Man, there's so many movies that I've watched this week too that have come out. The Flash came out on digital. We might have to talk about that in a different different that might get its own episode. There's another movie that we might have to talk about coming up recently that I saw that I kind of enjoyed, called They Clone Tyrone, which is kind of a science fiction movie that takes place in, I think, Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Starring John Boyega and Jamie Foxx.
Ooh.
And it is it's kind of wild.
All right.
It's a very, if you like John Boyega and Jamie Foxx and sci-fi movies, this is it. I don't know how John Boyega is just kind of like just doing all of these sci-fi movies. And coupled in with like being a dramatic actor too, because he's in like what was that one? The Warrior Queen. Oh, was that what it was? Anyway, he's done serious stuff too, but he really seems like whenever he does the not serious movies, he's like, nope, full on sci-fi, like just bring it on. I'm not going to do rom-coms, not just going to do straight up comedies, just put me in them science fiction movies. So, and I'm all for it, man. He's great in them.
He's so good in them. So do you want to talk about your weird foods now, or do you want to chat about that later on? Or your wired food combos?
Yeah, you know what? Don't be talking about my weird typos.
It's okay. I get plenty of them from your brother.
I don't know. The more I was staring at this, trying to figure out how I was going to segue into weird foods. Yeah, man. Let's talk about them. I got into this conversation at work. I can't remember how we got into it, but we started talking about just weird food combinations. And the two other guys that sit in my cube with me, one of them has weird taste buds, we'll say. Those cutie oranges, he will eat he will bite it like an apple. Like, he'll eat the skin and all. And I'm like, dude, you are weird. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, yes, you are. You're the only person I've known in my entire life to do that. And, you know, we were talking about like olives and how like some people will like stuff them with like cream cheese and like all this other kind of like stuff with them. And if you like olives, apparently that's a really good thing. I don't. I've really given olives that good college try.
Love olives.
Yeah. See, you're
Chris
weird.
also doesn't like olives. So anytime, like, if I'm like with my family, like almost everyone in my family likes olives except for my aunt. So we're all like, "Oh, look at these olives. Let's try these." And then Chris is just like, "Gross." So, I'm gonna try that one out. Anyways,
Yeah, and so things like that. And then this one girl walked in, and we were talking, and she said, "Do y'all?" Oh, that's what it was. We started talking about how different food combinations from around the country, because here in the South, spaghetti is a meal. So if you have spaghetti, then it is a full, like, that is dinner.
yeah.
If you go like further up north, there's certain people where they're like, okay, cool, like spaghetti is a side dish, and you'll have like fish with spaghetti. You know, you'll have like fried fish and spaghetti.
Ugh, fried fish with spaghetti.
Yeah, but like it's.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But
So,
like,
and then he said, "Do you ever have cinnamon rolls with spaghetti?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like on top of the cinnamon roll?" He's like, "Kinda, I guess. I mean, but instead of like garlic bread, you have cinnamon rolls." I was like, "I don't even know if that's a good combination. That's weird." Have you ever heard of that?
I have not. But honestly, like, you know, I feel like that could be like one of those like moments where you're just like, I like a good craving, like for just like random stuff. You know, when you're like super hungry and you're like, I don't know what to eat, and you just find a bunch of like random junk food in your like cabinets, and you just like take it and hoard it to somewhere, and then you're just sitting there and you're like, I'm eating like these sour cream and onion chips, but I also have these pretzels that are Girl Scout Thin Mints. Also, I'm eating, you know, mac and cheese that I microwaved in the oven. Or like, the oven? Microwaved in the oven.
Microwaved in the oven.
You know what? I stand by it at this point. But like, I don't know. I guess I can almost kind of see it. Like, it's kind of weird, but I can kind of see how like having a cinnamon roll with your spaghetti might be a little treat.
Well, see, this kind of prompted when this girl walked in. We were like, we mentioned the spaghetti and cinnamon rolls, and she said, "Have y'all ever had a honey bun with a slice of cheese on it and put it in the microwave?" And I was like, that is the wildest shit I've ever heard in my life. I was like Kraft cheese? She's like, yeah.
No.
You put it on there, and then you put it in the microwave for a few seconds and like kind of just halfway melt the cheese, and then you eat it. I was like,
Oh, I think the worst part is that it's like Kraft. It's not even like a
No.
good like cheddar or something.
Right. Because I've heard of putting like cheddar cheese on apple pie. You know, like
I
the
have too.
like the sharpness of the cheddar kind of like, you know, mixes with the kind of cinnamon and appleness and all that, and it kind of works. I get it, but the sliced processed Kraft single on like a gas station honey bun, I was like, I don't even know how to look at you the same way,
Right?
you know. So I asked some other people what was some other examples, and someone was like, I like peanut butter on pickles. And I was like,
I have heard of that.
I was like, are you pregnant? She's like, God, I hope not.
Right.
You know, she's like, I like them when I wasn't pregnant. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know. So yeah, that's just some of the wild stuff, wild food combinations that we talked about. I don't know. I don't even think I have like weird food combo. Everything.
I mean, you think that you don't have weird food combinations because you're so used to eating it. Like, it could be something that your family was like, hey, we make this, and then we just have this as, like, a normal thing. And then if you were, like, to have a friend over, they'd be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And you'd just be like, what? Like, My family, a lot of times, like, we would get, like, bread from the fresh market that was, like, pretty nice. We'd put, like, olive oil and some seasonings and, like, just cheese and, uh, maybe, like, a little bit of olives and, like, tomato on it, whatever. And we would literally just have, like, cheese bread for dinner, like, a lot of the time. Once my best friend came over and she was like, "What? That's not a meal." And I was like, "What are you talking about? We eat this all the time." Like, this is like a normal thing that my family will just like, "Oh, it's a special night. Let's have some cheese bread." And she was like, "But there's no, what's the substance?" And I was like, "It doesn't matter." And then when we were on vacation last year with like all of our friends from Minnesota, she was like, "Oh, I'll make pickle roll-ups while we're up there." And like we were like, "Explain pickle roll-ups." And so she takes ham and she cuts it into like little strips, and she'll get like, she had like a specific like type of pickle. Like I think it was like the spears that she typically gets, and she like puts cream cheese on the ham and then rolls the pickle in it. And I was like, what the heck is, like, I don't have an issue with it. I didn't have any problem with it, but we were like, that's the most Minnesotan type shit that you would bring to the table. Thank you, Justine. So, like different regions have like their own like weird little quirky things. Like if you told someone about like uh chili spaghetti, they'd be like, "What the heck is that?" Because when my like family did it at one point, I like went over to my dad's house and he was like, "Oh yeah, Devin made chili spaghetti." And I was like, "What does that mean? That sounds disgusting." And he just put chili on top of spaghetti noodles, and I was like, "I no." I thought it was uncultured, to be honest. Italians would look at that and be like, "I think I'm going to pass out." But,
Um, Kelly has this one dish that she makes from time to time. I call it the struggle pizza. It is bread, and she'll take some tomato sauce, like pasta sauce or something, and put it on the bread, put a pineapple on it,
oh.
and then put like a slice of Kraft cheese and put it in the oven.
Oh.
And I'm like, what in the world are you making? She's like, "Oh, I'll make a mini pizza." I'm like, this is not a mini pizza. This is an abomination. But it's like one of those weird kind of, she made it when she was a kid.
Yeah.
It's like some weird kind of comfort food, I suppose. I just
Pineapple with the Kraft.
It is a wild combination. I think the first time she made it, I texted Chris and was like, "You are not going to believe this."
Oh, yeah. Dude, my grandfather like saves all of his like pickle juice and jalapeno and anything that is like pickled. He will save the juice. He will put it in like a big jar together, and then he just like will use it and soak his chips in it. And the first time like I realized that he was, because I was like, "Why is there just liquid in this jar?" And then my grandfather was like, "Don't throw it away. That's for my chips." And I was like, "But then they're soggy." So like, yeah, no, I get it. Like you just find some like stuff that you're like, "This is a little out there," but if it makes you happy, you do whatever you need to. Have you heard of people doing that? Like just saving their juice? Like I get like saving it to like use maybe in like a recipe or something, but like pouring it all together and just like marinating your chips in it.
No, the only kind of thing I could think, the only reason I could think of like saving that brine, I guess, is if you were marinating something, or
Right.
if you were prone to like cramps, like leg
Yeah.
cramps, because apparently
Yeah.
pickle juice is the absolute best thing for leg cramps.
Yeah, I used to do it when I ran like miles every day. And I would just go home and take a little sip of some pickle juice. just to help out and make sure I didn't get cramps. It was tasty.
All right, let's start talking about weird food because in some weird way I'm kind of hungry because I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I'm not gonna eat no weird foods, but I am thinking about food a lot.
Fair.
And yeah, let's get to our movie because I'm excited to talk about this because I know that you have not seen this movie before this week.
Please.
And I always genuinely
yes.
get really excited when there's a new movie that you haven't seen. Especially an older movie that I know that I've seen a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And, you get introduced to something as wild and as campy as Flash Gordon. Raven, what did you think of Flash Gordon? 1980s. Nope, not Jim Jones. I can't remember the actor's name now. I'll look that up. With music by Queen.
Sam Jones.
Yes. With music by Queen. Tell me what you thought, Raven.
Man, oh man, was I in a ride for this movie. So when it first starts, and I'm like, what's going on here? And Chris is like, this is either Queen or it's Sting. And I was like, this is definitely Queen. How the hell did they get Queen to make music for this? And it starts, and I'm like, it feels very Rocky Horror-esque. So I was definitely intrigued by it. And then it just kept going, and things would happen, and nobody would explain stuff. And honestly, I was okay with it. Okay. Chris was like, why is this movie so horny? It is a very horny movie.
Oh, it is. Yes,
like,
it is.
everyone is constantly just like, what's up? Do you want to make out? And it's like, I just met you 2 minutes ago. I also proposed to some lady. But yeah, sure, let's go. It's a movie, that's for sure.
It is. It very much is.
We both, enjoyed it, to be honest. We were talking about it today with my uncle at lunch. Because I was like, have you seen this movie? And he was like, I was 10 when it came out. So, no, I've seen clips from it, and we were explaining it to him, and he was like, all right, I guess I'm going to go watch it at some point. So we sold him on it.
This is a style of movie that I want to make. It is campy. It knows what it is, but it plays it 100% serious. And the whole time, it's, because it's based off of the Flash Gordon serials from the 50s. And it's like those kind of campy serials, but just with a higher budget. Instead of $100, we got $1,000. So let's just make everything just big. Still keep the same kind of aesthetic. You can clearly tell that everything was shot on a soundstage, except for when they're actually at the runway. Everything else is clearly on a soundstage, blue screen, camp. My man has a button that says volcanoes on it that he uses to make volcanoes erupt on Earth. It is wonderfully campy, and I absolutely love it. You're right. It is super horny.
Yes. Was not expecting it. Every person in there's just yo, what's up?
Right.
Also, there's just a drink that's basically a roofie in there.
Yes.
Which is pretty wild. Little fucked up, but everyone's just drinking it, having a good time.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And it was kind of weird. It was is this going to make me forget? It was no, but it won't hurt for you to remember. I'm like, oh,
right?
Really? Oh, I don't know why that was stuck in my brain. I was like, oh man, I can't believe you just said those words.
It'll be decent enough that you won't be like, wow, I wish I didn't ever remember that. You're just like, okay.
Right.
But, Chris and I were talking about it, and, we've had this conversation before where if they were to make that movie today, it would not be anywhere near as good. It would probably be pretty trash, just like another one of our like standard movies that gets put out today, where it's all CGI.
Yep.
Nothing is like there and personal and real. Whereas this movie, like they put in a lot of work to just like do some shit.
Yeah.
And I love that's what I love about it is the fact that it is so campy and it just like gives personality to it. Like sure, someone, Amy's age would be look at that and be like, "What the heck are you watching?" Like we have good TV now.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "All right, listen here, you." But no, I do really like the style of movies like that. Is what I'm like coming to like fully understand about myself. I need them to make like more horror type movies like that though. Because I love
Yeah.
horror movies. And so like stuff like that I bet would just be a great time.
Okay, so I'm looking this movie up, like specifically the budget, and it says the budget was $20 to $27 million
Jesus.
in 1980. I think every single bit of that is on screen. And in
That
Queen,
Going to Queen. Yeah.
and in Queen. I think there is, like, you're right. If they were to redo this today, it would be too much. All the flair would be gone. It would be a Fast and Furious, just look at all of this. And so, there's so much charm that comes from the fact that you can tell that they're basically, in certain scenes, they're hanging from wires 3 feet above the floor. Speaking of which, let's talk about the different races of people that they have in this fucking movie.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So we want to talk about the lizard people first, right?
Yes, we have to talk about the lizard people.
Because they're so good.
Wow. The lizard people are my second favorite. Just because the first time you see one, he just runs out and he's just like, he hisses and then he turns around and then he gets vaporized. And I was like, what the hell just happened? What is that thing? And then you get a close up of him later on and you're like, they got eyes in their mouth? Wait, what? Oh.
It is very unexpected.
Yes, that's the word.
Shoot. Unexpected when you actually see what you're looking at. You're just like, okay. Because there's no sense to it. But I love it. I love the like super cheesy look of it. And man, they were working hard on the mask. You know they were. They were like,
yeah.
hey, what do you think about this? And someone was just like, yeah, it's fine. Let's just go with that. Should I put more work into it? No. We don't have enough time. We spent all our money on Queen.
I also want to talk about the main bird person, hawk person, whatever they're called.
Oh yeah.
This man knew exactly what kind of movie he was in, and chewed that scenery so hard. Let me pull him up. His name is Brian Blessed. Yes, he is. Prince Volton was his name. And this man, like I said, knew exactly what movie he was in. He was, I am going to act as much acting as ever been acted before in acting. And was just happy to be in there. I was enthralled by this man. He made the whole thing great for me.
Yeah, and that like first little bit where Flash is like trying to fight off the main dude's like guys and whatever. He's like throwing around that egg like it's a football.
Oh yeah.
And then you just see the other guy just like standing there and just like casually tapping people on the head and just being like, "Oop, sorry." That like cracked me up so hard that it was just like it's just so like dumb and cheesy, but it's just like just enough to be like, "Thank you. Thank you for the work that you're putting in here, sir."
Yeah.
But no, that man said, "I know what I'm here to do." He is like the first Jack Black. That's just
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I'm in this movie and we're doing it. He's a great guy. I love him.
I was also kind of thrilled by like the guy in the mask, like, you know, the main henchman. That was another
Yeah.
one of those things where, you know what? I'll just say this across the board. Everyone was very dedicated to their role. Like they played this strictly as this is a serious movie, you know. And even the guy we were just talking about, like that was his character. Like he played it the way it was supposed to be played, and I'm all for it. But the main henchman, with his little mask and everything, I really dug that character. I really liked him, but I liked when he died too because we got that gross kind of special effects. Yeah. You know, again, something I wasn't expecting in this movie, but they went full on with it. I'm like, hop, there we go. That's like another like probably 10, 15 grand up on the screen there.
Yeah, when people would die, it was like kind of a lot going on.
It was.
That lady like just became a goo when she died. Just like some black goo, and Chris was like constantly looking out at whatever color blood people had because people had different colored bloods depending on what race or whatever you were. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't.
But now you have something to notice next time you watch it.
Yeah, well, I guess now I got to go back and rewatch it again.
Hey. Oh no, now Mark has to go back and watch the movie.
Oh, no.
He hates that.
Yeah, I know, right? So, let's see. Very shocked and confused by like how quick the main lady was like, "Oh, Flash!" Like she caught the vapors quick, man. Like she was just enthralled by this man. It went from like, "Oh, he's a dumb jock," to just, "Oh, Flash, please save me, you big strong man."
Right? He literally like smiles at her in the first scene and she's like, yeah, whatever. And then the next scene is them on a plane and she's like grabbing his hand and his arm and is just like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And he's just like, I get on planes all the time. I've learned to fly planes. Do.
And then there was a couple scenes where she was like, seemed to be kind of sweet, like flirting with the doctor, with Dr. Hans. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you harlot, you Jezebel, how dare you? And then Flash is like in another scene with this other girl just like sitting on his lap kissing him, and he's like, man, this lady's really turning me on. I'm like, whoa,
Right?
Flash, you Jezebel.
Well, the Aurora chick, the dude that she was like engaged to, dating, whatever. And they had like one little scene where she's like, I'll come see you later. And he was like, you lying bitch.
Yes.
And then like he actually sees her and he's like the giddiest little schoolboy of like, oh, you came? So I love these weird like interactions between all the characters of just being like, yeah, whatever, to like so excited and like so
and that man is a
love-stricken.
James Bond. That is
yeah?
Timothy Dalton. That man is one of
Oh.
the James Bonds, which is wild when I see something like this. I'm like, you, sir, were in License to Kill. In the Living Daylights. You, sir, how did you get here?
All right. Interesting. I did not actually know that.
I want to see how when he, all right, so he did Flash Gordon in 1980, and by 1989 was when License to Kill came out. So over the course of a decade, he went from Flash Gordon to James Bond and so on. But even in his post James Bond career, like, he has done just a lot of stuff. He was in Looney Tunes Back in Action, Hot Fuzz, Toy Story. Yeah, he was in Toy Story 3. I didn't know that was him. Man, he's been in all kinds of stuff. This dude is just like, you know what? I'm just going to live my best. I was James Bond. You let me do what I want to do.
Said I'm going to live my best life.
That's what it looks
do
like.
whatever I need to.
Yeah. All right, Tim Dalton, you go ahead and do your thing. Oh. All right, well, that's all I got for some Flash Gordon. You got anything else?
Nah, I guess that's it. We've covered a lot on this wild and crazy little movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It is pretty spectacular in its own kind of weird way.
Yeah. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
And all the work that they put into it. I especially like a lot of those costumes, though. I'm not going to lie. I like the costumes that all the, like, girls were wearing, where it was like, oh, it's pretty and, like, flowy and sparkly and stuff. Like, I was just like, all right. He out here getting his women fined up.
All right, well, let's move on to favorite part of the week. Raven, tell me what has made you happy this week.
I'm sorry, I just burped. Gross.
It happens to the best of us.
Hey, happens to me a lot. It was a really nice week. Chris and I gave Kavik a bath on Friday after I got done with work, because he's just been so, like, itchy, and we weren't sure if he had, like, a case of fleas, which luckily we did not find any fleas, because if that dog had fleas, it would be such an issue, considering he is a large double-coated dog, and I think I would just be miserable having to take care of that. But
yeah,
he's just got some little dry skins, so he's looking great. Chris and I are gearing up for our vacation, so we're getting all excited and we're making plans and stuff with our friends and stuff. So it's just been nice that we're, like, getting to spend a lot more time together than we have been in, like, our past jobs and whatever. That even though we spend, different times awake, because I work days, he works nights, and we only see each other a lot of the times on the weekends. But I'm just becoming very content with my, like, time here in Knoxville, because when I first moved here, I knew that it gave me a lot of anxiety, especially because I know I don't really have, like, friends here that I'm just, like, able to hang out with. It's like a lot of my aunt's friends that she's had here forever that I also just, like, know. And so I think that's what's making me, like, pretty happy this week, is that I just realized that I'm just glad to be somewhere that I enjoy being, working a job I enjoy, and hanging out with all my favorite boys. What about you, Mark? What has made you happy this week?
Oh, man. I don't know. That's kind of a tough question.
Right?
Not that I'm necessarily awash with just wonderful things, but I'm not necessarily awash with any bad things. I'm just living my life. I think there's, again, it's kind of the small things that, like, me and the kids get a chance to go do, like going to see the Barbie movie this weekend was the first time I've hung out with both my girls where they weren't just bickering the whole time. Alice was away at a church retreat all weekend or all week. She was up in South Carolina at quote unquote Presbyterian College, which is the actual name of the place, called Presbyterian College, not University of South Carolina Presbyterian. Nope, just Presbyterian College. And the first day she was there, she sent me a text in the morning and she goes, "I just watched someone do an interpretive dance to Jesus." I said, "What?" I said, "You have to send me a video of this because surely you took one." She's like, "I didn't, but I'll take one tomorrow." And the next day I got a video, and oh boy, was it something else. Yeah, it was just as wild as you think it would be. So, but yeah, it was, I got a good relationship with my kids where I can do that. Hanging out with Amy was pretty fun too. She does demand my attention all the time, but we've developed a good kind of joke back and forth, a way to talk to each other to where, we kind of get each other. Again, she's hilarious, and especially when she stumbles sideways into humor, she's on fire. So, but yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's made me happy.
Nice. Very sweet.
All right. So how about you tell everybody where they can find us, you, me, all of us on social medias?
Well, you can find our lovely little podcast on whatever you're looking for. At Nerd for No Reason. You can find me on the Instagrams at That's So Raven Ellis. I casually will link a lot of my random other Instagrams to Mudslide and my grooming, so you can find those too. Twitter is rebranding to just the letter X, so
oh yeah,
as long as Twitter stays similar in format, you can find me on X at spooky_raven. But I'm not really sure about that, so we'll see how that goes. Mark, you can be found at Turtles Do It. That's where that guy is. He's just hanging out with them turtles. Tee-hee.
For sure.
Got any other order of business?
I don't think so. Man. We're just living our best life, doing dope things. Yeah. I'm really just trying to think of, like, did we miss anything? And I can't think that we did. So,
True.
Yeah. Hit us up on the socials. Love us. Worship us.
Tell us your weird food combinations.
Yes. Tell us your weird food combinations and give us ideas for movies to watch. Because we're always looking for fun new movies to watch.
True.
We should start a Discord channel. Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that later. All right, everybody. Go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go and just some pretty cool medias, and we'll see you again here next week at the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. boop, 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 boop.